everybody, and welcome back to another fantastic, beautiful, wonderful, incredible episode of Our Favorites. Ah, yes, we are back at it again after just seeing the incredible Multiverse of Madness movie. We are going to now be talking about the second phase of Marvel. We're working our way through, people, because it deserves to take its time and to really discuss these incredible, wonderful, thoughtful, provoking movies that we all love.
And we're good liars here. I mean, the MCU took 10, 11 years. We might as well give it, 4 weeks?
Might as well, right? Anyway, without too much further,
let's dive into the worst phase.
Ooh, spicy.
No, it's not the current phase.
Didn't you just say, yeah, you
yeah, phase 4 is the worst phase.
Yeah, well...
Second worst phase.
Yeah,
it's hard too when phase 3 is like twice as long as the other.
It's also hard because, like, to me,
I don't know that you can.
But
I don't know that we can call phase 4 the worst because isn't Multiverse of Madness in phase 4? That's true.
It is.
But we have more stinkers in 4 than the others. It's true.
So anyway, let's get right into this. Jared, what is your favorite pick?
Well, phase 2. Like I say, phase 2 runs from 2013 to like 2015. Yes. It's a shorter time span, but there are more movies coming out during the year. I think it's about the same amount of movies as phase 1.
Probably.
I have no strong feelings on the positive end for any of these. Jake took the one I would talk about because it's the most interesting to talk about, but he legitimately likes it the best of the phase. So I let him have that, of course. So
thank you.
So I'm going to have to talk about the next most interesting to me. So I'll say it's my favorite for the sake of talking about it, because I'm not just going to talk about all the things I don't like about it. Because I actually do like this movie, and it's a very popular pick, and a lot of people really like it. I know this is a lot of build-up to just say Guardians of the Galaxy. I'll need you guys to jump in because I'm pretty sure you like this more than I do. And you probably like it more than I do. Again, we've hit this. This is the one phase where I have like nothing, at least nothing super positive to say about anything. This movie is good.
That's it.
It's fun.
That's all you got?
Yep. It's colorful. We go out into space. You know, we have colorful characters. We have funny banter. Still a great soundtrack.
My God!
I was hearing that all summer when that came out. Like,
I mean, Groot has got to be one of the best MCU characters.
Yeah,
that is true.
Drax makes me laugh the hardest of the group. He's so probably my favorite of the group, even though I like him in this movie better than the others because he becomes a buffoon. In this movie, he's very serious, and that's where a lot of the humor comes from. Everything after this, he's very stupid. And all the humor is him just laughing at everything.
What a waste of a good Dave Bautista after this movie.
But I still like the character fine and everything else. But this first movie, he has a good story.
Yeah.
With trying to, it's a revenge thing. And that moment when after he's failed on the one planet... Don't remember which planet it was called.
There's a lot of planets.
It's the one with when they were up in the little mining things, weren't they?
Little mining things.
That's the one where Star-Lord switches his mask to Gamora. That one where they're in the little pods flying around.
Oh,
where Rhoda comes and
God, I know what you're.
I don't know.
About. I can't remember the
when they're there, and after Drax fails miserably, and Rocket yells at him like, "We all got dead people."
Mm-hmm.
Like, does he say something like, what makes you
any more like
special
than
like trying to say
else?
Like you can't be just jumping headfirst in every time because
saying that reminded me. I honestly think my favorite character out of the bunch is Rocket.
That's a lot of people's favorite.
Rocket is my favorite character.
Yeah,
I relate to him quite hard.
You just have a thing for relating to Bradley Cooper in movies.
I have a thing.
You do, because what's one of your favorite movies of all time?
Silver Linings.
And who's the main character?
Bradley Cooper.
And who do you relate to in that movie the most?
Bradley Cooper.
We're
just spirit animals, I guess.
I'm not picking on you. I'm just saying, like, it's just funny how you gravitate towards the Bradley Cooper characters.
He is good. And a quick side note, I just want to throw out how amazing Bradley Cooper was in Nightmare Alley, because I really like that movie.
I don't know. I think my favorite character in Nightmare Alley was Willem Dafoe's character.
Oh, he was great too. He absolutely
That speech that he gives him in that diner is...
Oh my God. I just had... You mentioning Willem Dafoe... Crazy random fan casting. And as much as I adore Michael Rooker in Guardians of the Galaxy, could you imagine a Willem Dafoe casted as Yondu? I feel like that would have been
completely different in a very interesting way.
That's what I was thinking.
I can't imagine Willem Dafoe being a fatherly sort of character.
Like, it'd be so interesting to see.
Why? He was a great father in Spider-Man.
Was he?
Yeah, to Peter. Oh, man.
Sure, yeah, let's... God. Oh, man. But, yeah, I will say about Guardians, I personally think it's one of the better, especially out of all, I mean, I was going to say all the Guardians movies. We only had 2 up to this point, but...
It feels like we've had more.
It's because they're in 2 other movies.
Yeah.
Soon to be another movie that they're in.
Maybe that's why it feels like we have more, is because they've been in so many. But, like, out of all the movies that the Guardians were in, other than Infinity War, I think this is my favorite. I just like we really start to learn into like what makes them take them, just like how they work together as a team, and I really, really do love the chemistry between Chris Pratt and Zoe Saldana. I think those two nailed it.
This first movie, everyone loves, and I remember not jumping on the hype train like I did back in the day, still do to an extent. But when I saw it, I was like, yeah, this is fun. And when I watched it, it was on TV a couple years later, and I hadn't seen it since then because I've only seen it twice. Mm-hmm. I watched part of it. I'm like, man, I'm having way less fun now. Like, I don't know what it is. I have found, and I didn't think this when we did our watch through back in 2019, I think I'm starting to like the second one better.
Really?
I'm on that train. Yeah.
The first time I watched it, I was underwhelmed by the second one. The first time I watched it, I remember I was homesick from work for a couple of days. I go, I'm going to watch some of these MCU movies that are on Netflix because I'm behind. I'll watch some of these. That's where I watched like Doctor Strange and The Winter Soldier for the first time. This is before we had our rewatch. And I watched Guardians 2, and I was like, I feel like something's missing. It's not feeling the same. I don't know what's off. It's fine. And then I started thinking about it. I watched there's a really good, I think it's Lindsay Ellis has a really good video on Guardians 2, which I was like, okay, you brought some stuff to my attention that I hadn't thought about. And rewatching it with Jake, I was like, I think I'm starting to like this better. It's different. There's less journeying around, which is what part of the fun is. I think it's because we're actually exploring the characters more, and there's a lot more going on internally. And I think
the characters are balanced better in the second one.
A big drawback is they again make Drax an idiot. And I was upset because I was like, man, he had such a great arc in that first movie, and everyone else seems to be having really good character stuff in this movie. Mm-hmm. But him, he's just there to make fun of Mantis looking hideous, which is funny because she doesn't look hideous.
No, I know. Yeah, it's kind of so that's super interesting because to me, the Guardians of the Galaxy, the reason that it works is because it's so funny and ridiculous, and I feel like humor lends itself. That kind of humor lends itself a little bit more to the first one because you can pepper it throughout the journey and it makes it more entertaining. Where in the second one, because you were saying we get way more in-depth into the characters, we have more serious heart-to-heart moments. When you pepper in that humor, it feels a little off. And that's why, for me, the first one actually stands a little bit higher than the second one.
Again, it's one of those things where as the years go by, I'm starting to like that second one better.
I also think that there was more of a main character in the second one. Like Quill was
the main character.
Definitely the main character, whereas
a lot of Rocket stuff too, though. Everything with Yondu.
Yeah, that's what's frustrating about Rocket, though, is he goes through all these changes and then he just is the same.
I feel because the first time I watched it, I was like, I feel like they like it's not a retcon, but it's like Rocket went back to like major jerk mode all of a sudden. But then I think it was the Lindsay Ellis video brought up like. Think about how the character would act when all of a sudden he has people that care about him and he cares about. Of course, he's going to revert back because he's scared. Yeah, and I go, that's a really good point. I didn't think about it that way, and I don't know if I fully like him taking a step back, but I'm understanding it better. Now I'm thinking about it, a couple years removed from that. Mm-hmm. It's like I'm starting to get it. It makes sense. He's lashing out and doing stupid stuff because he's not used to having loved ones around him. And I go, that's good. I hope I'm not thinking too deep into a goofy movie about talking raccoons and blue guys with arrows that fly around when they whistle. But that's just the takeaway I'm getting from it. Like, I think I'm getting it.
That's fair.
I'm getting it.
Yeah, anything
Not
else?
to talk about Guardians too much, but
you're good. But
if this is the phase where I could, the only one I had an interesting, at least conversation in my head.
Yeah.
Watch me not say much now, but
no, that's fair.
I think Jake's going to say more about it than I would. But if this is, I can't say my least favorite phase, but it's
we haven't finished phase 4, so it's hard to have any.
Yeah, we'll never finish phase 4. It's going to be 50 movies in phase 4.
Who knows how they're going to divide it up? But anyway, you have anything else you want to top
That's
off
all
with?
I got.
Alrighty. So I think it's my turn next, and my phase 2 movie has to be the great crime thriller, the great throwback to like a spy movie. Yes, Captain America: Winter Soldier.
The Winter Snorer.
The Winter Soldier.
Winter Snorer.
Because I mean, okay, I understand why you can say that because it is a very different turn from that first Captain America. The first Captain
it's not
America,
fun anymore.
The first Captain America, you were fighting a Nazi with no face. Like that is.
No, he had a face. He just had a giant forehead.
It is like his nose was kind of caved in.
It's kind of like if Voldemort had a cold.
It was a skull. He didn't have any of the cartilage that's right here.
Yeah, like Voldemort.
No, that's no nose. That's
Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers, the man who would come to Mein Führer. I mean, that's what he would say. I'm not going to say the other thing. It's on that bridge scene, too, when he's just before he jumps over the fire.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, that's it. You win. You win today. That's, oh my god.
Gotcha. So keep talking about the Winter Snorer.
I'm sorry. You just threw me. That was really funny. Okay, but yes. It takes a drastic turn from the over-the-top action and instead refines itself a lot more in becoming like more of a spy thriller. And that's probably why to you guys it seems boring. Understandable. But to me, I feel like it was just a completely different movie. And I really, really, really loved Robert Redford's villain. I thought
What's his name? I know his name. You know his name, Jake?
You always do this to me.
It's your favorite.
It's because you say it's your favorite. You don't know anything about them.
What is the villain's
I
name?
have to remember his
What is
actual
it?
name.
It's Alexander Pierce.
It's Pierce. Yes, obviously I knew that.
I hope I'm right. I thought I was right. At least I had a guess. You're like, I don't know his name.
Pierce
That's Robert Redford.
sounds right.
He's the guy from All Is Lost. Guess what? He was lost.
And sneakers. He's great in sneakers. But anyway, and one of my awesome things that I liked in this one was Nicholas Fury pretending to be dead.
Nicholas Fury. Woo!
Nicholas J. Fury. I think that's his
Can we just say him dying never felt real in this movie?
No, it never did.
That's one of those he's not dead.
But it's still like...
It was supposed to feel real?
That's what I said. I'm like, nope, he's no.
I mean, like...
It confused me for a second. I go, yeah, there's no way. I know he's in movies after this because I watched it years after it come out.
Well, see, that's the thing is I did watch this in theaters when it first came out. And I was like, they killed him? They can't kill him. They killed him? They can't kill him. And that war kept going back in my head. I'm like, there's no way he's dead. Is he dead? There's no he's dead.
Do you know what LCD is?
That's LSD.
No, LCD. You know what that is, right? Don't say the light thing. Lowest common denominator. That is Dickey watching movies in the theaters in 2014 or 15. Whenever this came out. They're gonna kill him? No! Fury's dead! Everyone, Fury's dead! I'm sorry if I'm picking. It's just I can see it there. This is a movie a lot of people like.
Yeah.
A lot of people call it the crown jewel at the time. The crown jewel of what's in the MCU.
I could have put this in the top.
In hindsight,
20.
In hindsight, I find it to be bloated and so slow that I can't overlook the bloated.
It is a slower pace. It's absolutely a slower pace.
Think of it this way.
I'm not going to argue that.
It's like the first movie. Take the first movie, a copy of the first movie. It's a tauntaun. And the Russo brothers are Han Solo. They rip it open. They rip out all the stuff inside, which is what I call style. And then they put in Luke, which would be boredom. It still looks cool on the outside. Doesn't smell that good, but I'm just picking on them.
Oh my God.
They help give us Community and Arrested Development. Well, and of course what they've done for the MCU shit.
Hey, everybody! If you couldn't guess, this is not Jared's favorite.
Wow!
I don't dislike it. I like the movie, but every time
it
I watch it again,
does not sound like you like the movie.
I'm doing it to pick on him because it's funny. But also, when we watched it, that was my second time watching it because I really liked it the first time. And we're sitting there, we're like, is this over yet? We're checking the time. We're like, can this please end? I'm just bored.
I do want to say the first fight sequence on the boat is probably some of the best.
With the French guy?
Yes. Some of the best fight choreography that we have had in a long time in the MCU. And I think it still holds up to this day when you're looking at specifically the fight choreography. I think that is also the action in this, where I feel like there's less big explosions and more just like fisticuffs. And I like the way that again. In the more of the fisticuffs, the punchy stuff.
I will say that I think Captain America, due entirely in part to this specific movie, is probably the strongest of the little franchises within the franchise. Mm-hmm. On the whole, because it's not like Captain America 1 was bad. No, Captain America 2 it's good. It's boring, but it's boring and it's overly long, but it's not like it's bad. And then Civil War is where everyone's like, yeah, due in no small part to Spider-Man. I mean,
absolutely.
Let's
and
face
Black
that.
Panther also helped it out a lot too.
That too, and
Martin Freeman,
and let's be fair, those three characters helped cover up a pretty big flaw in the plot.
Like the whole thing?
Yeah.
That's a whole separate
thing is based on chance.
That's another movie that I like it fine. It's very boring on rewatches, and man, people love to call it one of the best ones.
It takes a long time to get to that airport scene, which is the only real scene that you care about.
And one person gets hurt. Actually hurt.
I mean, you don't think that they're going to kill each other. They're obviously just fighting because they're angry.
What does that make it? That takes
they're
away
not
the
even
stakes.
Fighting because they're angry.
There's still stakes, but it takes away a lot of them because it's okay, none of them are going to die. None of them, one person gets hurt.
I mean, I get that. To me, it's it's a fun roller coaster. It's just, you go on it because you're going to have fun. Oh, and you do.
I have fun every 30 minutes. I have fun when all the talking's done. I'm just picking on. See, I'm just being overly harsh.
And again, the whole plot is predicated on, I think they'll react this way if I do this.
Yeah.
Oh, Zemo's plan
on the part
is ridiculous.
I kind of like this plan, but
it all hinges on chance.
I feel like
it probably should not have worked.
I feel like it's just they're just doing it based off of.
I feel like
he knows them to be.
I feel like
it's too contrived.
I feel like it's another movie sort of scenario where if they'd have just talked through what was happening.
Yeah, that's valid. I can't fight that one. But anyway, we're not talking about Civil War. We're talking about Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier.
We're just picking on you.
I know you are.
I have to admit, I did love that they kept Bucky in it.
Bucky is so good in this.
Bucky is one of my more favorite characters in the MCU.
Especially I started loving him in Winter Soldier, and then I know we're jumping all over the place, but now when you look at Captain or Falcon in the Winter Soldier.
No, Captain Falcon.
Falcon.
He is Captain Falcon. Captain Falcon in the Winter Soldier.
He's Captain Falcon? I thought he was a Winter Soldier.
Sorry.
No, that's the thing. They call it Winter Soldier. Wasn't he changed to a White Wolf or something?
Which is
by Infinity
in Wakanda,
War?
though. Yeah. So it might be different.
Okay, I was just confused because everyone keeps throwing all these names around. No. I don't know any of this stuff.
I genuinely believe in the next movie or show or whatever he's in next, he is not going to go by the Winter Soldier.
He's going to go by Bucky.
Either Bucky or White Wolf, but I don't anything that makes.
I don't know what it was, but in the second and third Cap movies, whenever Steve says his name, I just laughed. It's he's saying it seriously. Bucky.
It was probably the second one, but that's only reminding me is the very end fight between him and Bucky on the helicarrier was so good. I could just feel the emotion fighting when that's his lifelong friend that he's loved since They were friends like back in like 5 years old, however long they've been friends. And he doesn't want to kill him at all, but he needs to take this down, just that fighting and just that struggle between the two. That is what made it so good for me. I just loved everything between Steve and Bucky. And especially when like Steve was going back through the old like memorial thing that they set up, and he was able to look at the Bucky's sign, and I just thought every single thing they did between those two characters was absolutely perfect in every way possible. But
when I was awake, I thought so too. I think I'm being overly harsh.
I know. I just gave a really good spiel when I was awake.
I don't know. I think they use that relationship between Steve and Bucky to explain away a lot of things that don't make a whole lot of sense.
I mean, I will say I'm a little surprised that he survived that fall to begin with, but that's all.
What fall?
In the first movie when...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway.
That's all right. We got off track there.
So did Bucky.
I thought he trained for that.
On that note, let's move on to the next pick.
Isn't it Chris Evans that's also in Snowpiercer?
Is
it the same train?
It's the same train?
All right, so Jake, what is your pick?
I think once again for Phase 2, I picked a not so popular one. Maybe it's more popular than what I remember it.
I think it's popularity in terms of people talk about it for one big thing. So we'll put it that way. It's not a forgotten one, but maybe not for the best reason.
Mine is definitely Iron Man 3.
Woo!
If any of you remember the trailer from that, man, was it hype.
The trailer was dope.
Because you have the Mandarin, and he basically kills Tony in the trailer.
It looked like he killed, like it was like, I remember
it was dark.
And I was like, holy crap, they're going to full send in this one.
Dark. And honestly, it's a good movie.
Oh,
when it has that tone.
What happens, Jake?
Well, you see, there's this guy. His name is...
spoilers, by the way.
Ben Kingsley. Love Ben Kingsley. Really do. I love me a Ben Kingsley. But... So, you take a dude that's a legit, like, threatening terrorist, right? You
Through
take
the use
him...
of media, no less.
Yeah. And, then you take him and you make him an actor, and you make the actual villain of your film a rich white guy. Kind of
literally a rich white guy. It's Guy Pearce.
Yeah.
Ah!
Kind of does one of these for your movie.
Well done. It
breaks it.
It really
breaks
does.
It takes the wind out of its sails. It really does. Yeah. But that's not... That is a thing, or I think on a rewatch, it doesn't impact me as much. I won't say that I wasn't as invested the second time as I was in the first time. I just, knowing it was coming, reframed it in my head a little bit, and it wasn't as bad.
I guess that makes sense.
What time was it when we watched it together for our big rewatch?
The second time.
That was it.
Yeah, because I had never bought it up until then.
That's right.
I don't even know if I have bought it still. Do I?
Yeah, you bought them all.
Okay.
So that's how we watched them all. You own them all. You have 2 copies of Homecoming for some reason.
Someone gave me one for Christmas, I think.
That's right. But I was going to say the Iron Man 3 thing, it was my first watch. It was one of like the 3 or 4 I hadn't seen. And I remember at the end of watching it, you're like, you know what? That's way better than I used to think it was. And I think it's because the twist doesn't throw me for a loop as much. It's still, there's a lot to talk about, but I think what you told me is like, I think I like it better a second time.
Yep.
Because you know what's coming.
So here's the other thing, the way I look at the Iron Man trilogy as a whole. You look at Iron Man 1, it's about him feeling helpless and,
wanting to make a difference.
Not in control, developing the suit so that he can become something he's not. The second one is about him learning to balance the two lives.
It's a lot like Spider-Man 2 in that way.
In a very like literal way, except Spider-Man doesn't get drunk off his heart.
True. Very true.
But it's also killing him in Spider-Man 2. That's great. Iron Man 2. It's killing him, right? Because the veins thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And creating the new element was pretty cool.
That shit was kind of cool.
Yeah. There's a lot to love about that second one, as much haze as it gets. But the third one is about him learning to come back out of the suit and be him again. And I think if you look at that, because you look at most of that movie, he spends most of the time outside of the suit.
He does, yeah.
And it is really interesting when you take that power away from him. That being said, it does, like I said, it gets deflated by Ben Kingsley's twist. And Gwyneth Paltrow not actually dying.
Yeah.
Didn't she get superpowers at the end?
Yeah.
She had the same illness thing that Aldrich and all the other people had.
Okay.
I think that undercut the movie more than Twisted.
It's one of those weird
That
things.
felt
If she
weird.
dies, it feels like a fridge where we kill her for the sake of Tony's development. Where it's one of those where it's a fridge, but it also is the consequence for his actions, where I'm okay with the fridge because it's like, if we're going to kill Pepper off, it's got to be a direct result of Tony's actions.
Yeah.
So when they do that in the movie, they make that decision to have her die. That is a crushing moment. It's like,
I remember
it's like,
thinking,
oh my gosh. And then she's okay.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, okay, you can't keep doing that. You keep doing this to characters in this universe. People are going to die. We're going to feel nothing.
Instead, it's not the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's the fake Death Cinematic Universe. Like nobody really dies anymore. But
Yeah, that's just
I will say I did like all the parts with the kid, like with him.
Harley.
helping-
Well, and
Harley, yeah.
the parts with him dealing with the PTSD from like Avengers.
that
Avengers
too.
movie.
I wish they did
It's
it more.
fascinating. Like they don't give it enough space in other movies, and I think that's something they've learned post Endgame,
Mhm.
because I feel like the PTSD caused by the snap and just the repercussions of that,
Not the
That's-
snap.
It's a big thing.
the blip.
Yep.
Oh, I don't know why I thought you were gonna call it the snapping.
But no, the blip. Everyone calls it the blip.
It does,
The
yeah.
blip. Isn't that failed like YouTube wannabe thing that Disney shut down or something? Or is that Blimp?
I have
What?
No clue what
There's
you're
a video,
talking
the
about.
video site that ran for like 10 years alongside YouTube. You know what I'm talking about?
No, not
Man,
a clue.
where were you guys back in the day, early YouTube? I say
watching
early
YouTube? Not
Yeah.
whatever blip or blimp was.
Whatever it was. It shut down in like 2016 or something.
Huh. But yeah, no, because like, did any other like post Avengers movie even touch on that kind of thing?
No.
Only him.
Because like, I
Now,
know
to be fair, he took the brunt of that trauma,
he did. That's
but still, like, I mean, and then Homecoming kind of does it. I mean, pretty directly does it, but
Homecoming?
I don't think Homecoming. I feel like
Yeah,
Homecoming
they
was
did.
more.
For who?
So
I'm trying
the
to
whole
remember how-
reason that Vulture exists is because he was scrapping the metal from the Chitauri.
I thought you
Yeah.
meant PTSD. I'm like, who had PTSD in Homecoming?
Yeah, well, it kind of did for Michael Keaton's character and all that he was trying to service. Like, it showed the effects, the after
It showed
effects
the
of
after
the
effects.
movie.
The aftermath of the Chitauri invasion. Okay, I thought you meant
Yeah.
the PTSD thing. I
Which-
go, who has PTSD in Homecoming?
Which I will actually say, I know not a lot of people watched it, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did a little bit of that too. And I kind of liked it when they did that at Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because, like, it's just interesting to me, like, cleaning up and dealing with that kind of disaster. And I'm
Mhm.
glad that Iron Man 3 was able to, like, actually do something with that.
I wish they leaned into the PTSD angle more
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like if they lean into it more, that makes more sense.
It's really the only movie
Then
that they
to-
do it with him in. I mean, I guess there's the effects of, like, in Civil War, where he's like, I told you a suit of armor around the world, or even Ultron. Like,
Yeah,
that's the whole reason why he wants to develop Ultron.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get it. It's just not
They kind
well
of abandoned
fleshed
it,
out.
Because, like, straight up giving his address on TV like that to the Mandarin for them, that's why they send the missiles.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone would always point out, like, what a stupid decision. Even for Tony,
That's
I'm like...
and
then part of you is like, well, that is kind of in character for him to be that arrogant, but also it's like, if you lean into the he's imbalanced right now because of the PTSD thing, I feel like that's an interesting angle of, like, he's not acting like himself, but I don't think they lean into it enough to make that. I think they're just leaning into he's just upset and arrogant.
I will say it's been a long time since I've seen this, so maybe on a rewatch, it might feel like they do that a little bit more, but
and the thing about it that I don't like, other than the couple of things I've mentioned, is that the thing that solves the entire problem, he uses the suits at the end. The whole movie has been about getting him to do things outside of the suits, to leave the suits behind. And yes, he blows them up at the end and it's all pretty and everybody kisses and hugs and blah, 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 blah. But
he still has to
he solves the problem with the suits. So you're going to spend the whole movie, and yes, I promise this is actually my favorite of the phase. I really do. But you're going to spend the whole movie be really fascinating about what's going on with this man and inside his mind and how he's working it out. And then you're just going to use the thing that he left behind earlier in the film to solve the issue of the film.
Yeah, it seems like a little bit of a cop-out, but...
It does... I know you think it feels like you're only talking negative. I think it's your favorite because it's the most interesting to talk about as well. Because the other ones are pretty cut and dry, good and bad. This one's kind of more of a... There's a lot of gray area in, like...
Yeah, I didn't fall asleep in this one.
Thanks.
There's something I was going to mention, but I can't remember. Oh! When I saw Civil War before this, because there were a couple I missed.
Mm-hmm.
So in Civil War, the last fight, when Steve uses a shield to crush his reactor... Yes. I remember thinking, like, isn't that going to kill him? Because in Iron Man 3, he gets the surgery.
Yeah.
He gets the surgery and the shrapnel removed, and he throws the reactor into the water at the end. I see the movie before, so when he kept like, thanks, Cap, you straight up murdered someone. But no, and I'm like, how did he survive? But it makes sense now.
Yeah. Are you guys got anything else you want to mention about Iron Man 3 before we head out?
I'm good.
Alrighty, well, thank you everyone for listening to our episode. Jared, where can the good people find and listen to us?
You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can listen to us on Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can watch us on YouTube. But hey, you see some funny content, some funny videos, why don't you go on to our TikTok?
Hey, I hear the off-slate TikTok. I hear it's pretty funny.
Hey.
I make one remark.
One remark, Dickey.
One pompous, snooty little... Well, I think it's pretty funny.
I said that once!
That's all it takes.
Oh, God. Well...
Have you ever come up against his pettiness?
Oh, I'm not surprised. It's pettiness.
It's not that petty.
It is.
It is. Anyway. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Look at me. He's in on this, too.
Not as much. Okay, well, maybe I'll make Jake do the outro, and then we'll see what happens.
I mean, we'll still talk about how funny our TikTok is.
Yeah, true, which it is pretty funny. Anyway, thank you. Thank you one and all for listening. Please stay tuned this week for more content in the next weeks and weeks to come, because we have fun making this show. And we hope you enjoy too. So until the next time, we will see you later.
Bye.